When I told you guys about this project that I wanted to do, like, what went through your mind?
I have a lot of questions if you've thought through a lot of the details. How far it's going to be, where it's going to be, that's one question. Like, how are you going to train for this? How are you going to prepare for it?
Yeah, I don't want you to look back and say, gee, I really wish I could have done that, but my parents said no, and have doubts. But I also want you to have in the back of your mind that we are concerned about it too. So we're not giving you carte blanche. We're not saying, wow, this is the greatest thing you've ever thought of.
Almost every hike, something comes up that you didn't anticipate. Even a well-structured hike, something happens and you think, now what am I going to do? And it gives you an opportunity to just kind of run through that in your mind.
And things do happen. I mean, you could twist your knee, you could twist an ankle, you could slip, you could hurt yourself.
Should I do it, Mom?
Isolation, it can take several forms, but it is when a person withdraws into themselves.
Going off to a hermitage or going off to a remote hike for a time is one way to do it. Disengaging with our daily activities for a time is always beneficial.
We've heard of people who can take off for months on end by themselves. A lot of us would not be able to tolerate that level of isolation.
A day hiker is someone who would like to come back to some kind of comfortable place at the end of the day. Maybe there's a beer there or something like that. And there's another type called people who yo-yo the trail, which means they go there and back. These people are hiking maybe 40 miles a day, which is, in my mind, 5 miles a day is very light. 20 miles a day is very heavy. 40 miles a day is inconceivable. I don't know how anybody does that.
I think maybe with hiking, dread is a good way to look at this, where if I'm going to go on a 10-mile hike, I can't approach that with, oh, you know, I'm only a half mile into it, 9.5 miles to go, what a drag, or allowing myself to be present and to not think about each step in front of the other if I'm not appreciating how many steps are along the way.
The people who are solo hikers have a plan ahead of time. They know where they want to go, but they're flexible. And that's one of the major advantages of being a solo hiker, is the flexibility, that you get to some place and you think, I could probably go further than this.
If we approach something like that with a lot of dread and fear, then the outcome is probably not going to be one that we're going to want.
While you were gone this summer, there was a foothill. There was a man who was knocked down the trail by a mountain lion, and they closed down Foothill for a couple of days.
I don't know anybody that does solo hiking, and I don't know many people that do just regular hiking. They've, as one of my friends said, become addicted to creature comforts.
Usually in our everyday lives, especially here in Silicon Valley, and especially in the modern world, we are very, very busy. We're almost frantic in our lives. We feel we have to be busy and accomplishing many, many things. Quite often, this busyness is simply manufactured.
Let's say corporate America and a gigantic room of cubbies, and everybody's sitting at their own computer, and it's all communication by email, and I would find that very isolating. But people are there in a room full of other people. I think also when people get so immersed in whatever their endeavor is, whatever their work is, that they can really lose sight of the human element. We're not just here to make widgets, we're here to be together.
You know, it's not society that's doing that to us, we do it to ourselves. We allow society to become very speedy and put pressure on us, and we don't know how to resist that, to stop being mechanical, to stop and reflect on what we're doing, and to move more mindfully and more deliberately in the things we do every day.
People can be very alone and lonely, even amongst a lot of people, even though we're in a milieu among many people. But of course that's different from a person seeking out a wilderness experience.
Usually when we walk or hike or move, we do it in a kind of speedy fashion. We think we have to get somewhere in a hurry. We feel we can't waste time, so we move from place to place very quickly. And when we do that, we lose our awareness. Sometimes we go from one place to another and we reflect on, I don't even know how I got here.
Putting one foot in front of the other and being so aware of all that surrounds me is part of what I get out of hiking.
When we practice walking meditation, we start to come to the realization that we don't have to move from place to place so quickly, and that we don't have to be so busy all the time, that there is time and space in our lives to be quiet, to move slowly and mindfully. And this is a great help, not only to our emotional well-being and to the relief of stress, but also to help us understand our spiritual self.
My relationship to my body in terms of how I am moving through space in relationship to the terrain and that time, that meditative time, and also the physical nature of it as opposed to sitting brings me to a different place, including getting tired and getting sore feet and having to kind of power through that or back off from my own limitations is also a way for me to have a dialogue with myself.
I seem to get a feeling of independence about it. I like the idea that I have everything I need on my back.
Whatever the course of the journey is, whether it's to complete a loop or to get to a destination or to climb a mountain, knowing that you yourself are putting one foot in front of the other, you're pacing yourself, and you are your own companion and you're there with your thoughts, I think you can learn a lot about where you are and where you might want to be and where you might need to be.